Hello and welcome to our latest Claret and Blue podcast. We've got an extra special guest. Well, we've got a guest. We're guests of Big Ron Atkinson himself, who's invited us to his lovely house to reminisce. It's 30 years. I can't believe it. 30 years. That's 30 years since that glorious day at Wembley. Aston Villa 3, Manchester United 1, under the mastermind management of Big Ron. Ron, thanks first of all for welcoming us along, but can you believe it that it's 30 years?
Do you know what? No, I can't. It really, you think, where's that all gone by? And funnily enough, I talk about that game a lot because I play a lot of golf, or did when the weather was right, with Steve Staunton, who tells a few stories about it that, because he only just made the match because he'd been injured for about 4 or 5 weeks earlier. He got injured just before the semi-final, actually, and he keeps telling everybody how I more or less forced him into playing in the final.
So where does that... Listen, you've had a great career in football, but where would that occasion and that result rank amongst your achievements?
Oh, that would be as high as any. That would be as high as any because, we were playing a United side who eventually went on to win both the Liga and the FA Cup. A side that Fergie always said was his most physical side, strongest physically side he ever had. You know, they had Brucey and Pallister, Keane and Ince, people like that, Mark Hughes. So they had a very strong side. And we just, I think, with hindsight, after the semi-final, which was arguably the most momentous game of my career, we'd gone off the boil a little bit. And with hindsight, it's possible one or two of us had taken our eye off the ball a little bit in the league. We knew we weren't going to win the league that year. We were in no danger. We were always going to be in the top half. So I think a lot of there was a bit of relaxing maybe went on. So we went into that match definitely as underdogs, big underdogs. I don't think outside of our own group, say as spectators and players, that people gave us that much of a chance. One thing that did happen, and I used to do a lot of television then, and Doug used to get a bit upset about me watching football matches. I used to say, would you sooner I was out playing golf or something, you know. Anyway, but on the Tuesday prior to the final, I'd been to see Arsenal. I saw Arsenal play Man U in a game. And Arsenal played a system where they played 3 up front and caused United quite a few problems. Looked at that and I thought, there's a lot of mileage in that. And when I came back, I thought we'll play in a similar sort of fashion to that. And what I did, it was when I bought Graham Fenton in. I knew we needed more physical power in midfield. Unfortunately, very good players like Gary Parker and Ray Houghton had gone slightly off the boil, and I thought we'd maybe get a little bit out-muscled in midfield. So I took what everybody said was a chance and played a young centre-forward in midfield, Graham Fenton, who'd been on loan a couple of times, Leicester, Albion, and done quite well, and was strong physically. And I thought we need the biggest physical presence I can get in midfield would be Fenton, Kevin Richardson, and Andy Townsend. And then I decided to play the 3 up front with Daly and Atkinson operating more as a right winger. And I said to Dean Sanders before the match, you can run about, you'll run, and when you finish running, run again. And when you finish that, we'll bring you off and replace you. Who with, I don't know. But it was one of those. But I knew Dino would. He'd relish the task on his own. So that was the build up to the game. When I was a kid, when I was a young player at the Villa, they got to the final against Man U. Last time they won the cup, actually. And they trained all week on Cadbury's. Cadbury's had a terrific hockey pitch, great grass. And Wembley at the time was the epitome of all football grounds, pitches. So we trained all week at Cadbury's just to give the lads a different feel, because they'd been, as pitches were then, a lot of them were mud heaps. So it's just a change, just to give them a different, maybe hopefully, whether it works, you don't know, but to give them a bit of a chance of getting up to pace on that sort of surface.
Would you have got nervous before the final like that? Or how would you have kind of worn that stress, as you like, if you like, as a football manager for a big occasion like that?
I loved it. People said all the pressure. I said, it's great pressure. That going. I mean, even our build-up would be different to certainly how our teams would do it now. Certainly, it was something I did when I was 3 years earlier. We've been in the same final at Sheffield Wednesday and beat United 1-0. And in many ways, our build-up was similar. Took the boys into London a couple of nights before the match with their wives and partners, and we took them all out to an Italian restaurant I knew and let them relax a little bit. On the Saturday before the game, I then took the team out into the country to Bisham Abbey, where we trained and worked on how we were going to do next day. I also, which I'd done at Sheffield Wednesday a few years earlier, I got Stan Borman to meet up with us and come on board the coach and hopefully entertain on his way to get the boys in a good heart. And it worked twice, so who knows? But I wanted them some. All right, United had been to Wembley a few times, so it was, in many ways, it was just another game to them. As Villa hadn't been there for a while, I always thought once teams got the habit and the feel of having a Wembley occasion, they go there a few times. It did with Sheffield Wednesday. They went to Wembley 2 or 3 times afterwards, and Villa did a couple of times. So, I think players get the feel of being in a cup final. Yeah. I mean, I think they're great occasions. One
of the big moments, I was sitting behind the goal where Dalian scored with my dad as a young man, probably even a teenager back then. I can't believe how long it seemed to take the ball to cross the road, because it came off his shin a little bit, didn't it? I think it seemed to take an absolute age, didn't it, to go in that one? Yeah.
I mean, we worked a lot on set plays, and actually 2 of them got mishit, and we scored from them both. I mean, Dino's goal from a free kick didn't quite pan out the way it was supposed to, but it still left us with a chance of a goal. And it's funny that even when I was at Sheffield, now I think of it, we had a free kick that we'd worked a million times and it'd always come up. It didn't come off, but it rebounded to John Sheridan, who whacked it in for the winning goal. So perhaps that's the way at Wembley. Don't quite get your free kicks just spot on.
So in terms of like the celebrations of the post-match, did Doug put his hand in his pocket? Did he treat any of you? Or?
Well, we didn't need that. We knew what we were going to do. Noel Cantwell, an old Man United captain years ago, once told me, enjoy the big moments. And I thought you should. And we did.
I think it was only fitting, wasn't it, that the time that you were at Villa, that you actually, not only did you lift the mood of the club with the brand of football that you tried to introduce and the players, the team that you moulded, but having that tangible trophy, you said it was European Cup in 82 since Villa had actually been able to celebrate a trophy. So I know that, within 6 months, 8 months, I think you were gone from Villa Park, but is that still a sense of pride that you're able to put that stamp on your regime there with that bit of silverware?
Yeah, very much so. And I tell you what, all right, 30 years ago, so a lot of the Villa fans today weren't around then, but the number of people I bump into that were at that game, it's a wonder there weren't 200,000 in the stadium. Because then, in fact, Steve Stride, who was a brilliant secretary, one of the best, the second biggest mistake the Villa ever made. I was the first. Getting rid of me. Stridey said he enjoyed that more, that occasion, than even when they won the European Cup, which I thought, well, that's great, that somebody who's not only an employee of the club and a brilliant employee, but a big fan of the club, thought that highly of it, yeah.
And do you have any kind of mementos of it anywhere? Do managers get medals? Have you got the programme from the game? Or
do you know what? I've got 3 League Cup medals. And what I did, I gave them to my dad. And somewhere along the way, they've got mislaid. I don't know whether I've still got a couple of FA Cup medals, but I don't know. I don't know where my League Cup medals have gone to.
But the memory's lodged away up here anyway.
Yeah. It's the I can remember occasions better than medals.
Brilliant memories from 1994 from Big Ron there. We've got a treat for you. We're going to do a bumper special with Big Ron where he talks in depth about the whole of his spell at Aston Villa. So stay tuned for that, coming up soon.